Hello again, Navigator parents and guardians. Welcome to the February cast off with the counselors, our monthly information session. My name's Todd Sear. I'm the seventh grade counselor, and we're going to get going. So, what are we talking about for the month of February? Some of this is a repeat of what has already been discussed, but we think it's important enough to share this information with you again. So, we're going to talk about electives. Um, Specifically, I'm going to be speaking to our sixth grade and seventh grade parents, current sixth grade and seventh grade parents and guardians. I know there's some confusion out there. We're going to try to clear that up. The next topic after that, we're going to talk about the CTE programs here at LEAD. I have really important information for our sixth grade parents and guardians specifically. Then I will once again talk about magnet school decisions because we are about a month away from, actually less than a month away from magnet school decisions being sent out. So I'm going to review the process with you. Following that, I'll talk about where we are right now in STEM Tank. Um, then I have some zoned high school info to share with you from Mrs. Murray, the eighth grade counselor. And we always finish up with our dates to remember. So I'm recording this on Thursday, the 20th of February. I'm not sure when you're going to watch this, but here we go. All right, so we're going to start with elective selections. Now, the forms have gone out. Okay. Um, Here at LEAD, students choose their electives through a Google form. We did things a little differently this year in that elective presentations were given to students in their advisory courses. They were not given by the counselors. They were given by the advisory teachers. At least that was the plan. I don't know that that happened in every advisory class, but that was the plan. Um, Now, originally, we were going to have the Google Forms just sent to parents and guardians so that you could take a look at the selections with your children, have discussions about what they wanted to choose for seventh grade or eighth grade, and approve of the courses that they selected. That didn't happen, at least not with the seventh grade. I know my current seventh grade parents and guardians, the form was sent to students first. And I apologize for that. That was not the plan. We don't have control over that. But that's how it went down. Once the form was sent to the students, I brought it to the attention of our administrators that the form went to the students and not the parents. And so then the form was sent to parents. You may have gotten an email from the school with the elective form. Your child may have gotten an email from the school with the elective form. And for our current seventh and sixth graders, the forms are also available in our Canvas pages. Okay. So, again, apologies for the process. It wasn't as smooth as we like it to be. Okay. So, again, this is for our current sixth and seventh grade parents and guardians. The Google form can be found in the deckhands Canvas page and the midshipman Canvas page. So the deckhands is a Canvas page for Miss Cloud, our sixth grade counselor, and the midshipman, that's my Canvas page for seventh grade students. Okay. What we're asking students to do is pick their top four choices. So they number, 1 to 4 on the form. We cannot guarantee that they're going to get their top one or even two choices. We try our best, but it's not always possible. Okay. Now, I want to share some reminders with you, and that is that our electives are either for the entire year or for one semester. Honestly, the majority of our electives are for the year. The only one semester elective I can think of is student aid. Okay. Now, while I'm on the subject, if you have a current sixth grader, Please make sure you are reviewing the form with your child because there are a lot more electives that are open to students in 7th grade than there were in 6th grade. Okay, and you want to be aware of that. And you want your child to be aware of that. Now, getting back to our reminders, electives are a year long decision. Okay, we are not allowing our students to try out an elective and then email us a month into school and say, not really liking this. Please move me to such and such. That's not going to happen. This is why we want you to review the elective form with your child so that everybody's on board with what the elective choice is and there are no surprises because we do not grant elective changes. Okay. And it happens every year. Come September, come October. I mean, I'm even getting emails right now in February from my 7th graders. I'm not really liking this elective. Can I please be moved to this other class? The answer is no. Okay. We want our students to make wise choices with their electives, and we can't just go switching students throughout the school year. Number one, that's not fair to the teachers. Number two, that's not fair to the other students who are not asking for changes. Okay. Number three, it goes against the policy of the school. We want these electives to be a year-long commitment. Okay. The other thing I want to point out is there are some courses that require an application, and I'm going to get into that. I'm going to share more details with you momentarily. And then finally, we have several fine and performing arts electives, as you are well aware. And for the second and third years of those fine and performing arts, um, an audition is usually required, okay, or a teacher approval. And I'll get into that also. So let me tell you a little bit about the application. So the applications are digital. They are online forms that students must complete in order to be considered for those courses. These are the courses that require an application: broadcasting and TV production, competition robotics, publications, which is working on the yearbook, student aid, and advanced theater. Okay. Students must complete an application to be considered for those courses. Now, who sends them the applications? Teachers send them the applications. Counselors do not have those applications. We don't have access to them. We don't send them to students. So please don't email us, and please tell your children not to email us for copies of the applications. We don't have them. They have to come from the teachers. Okay. So basically, how it works is we take the students who have asked for these 5 courses as choice number 1, and we send their names to the teachers. And then the teachers email the applications to those students. So once again, the teachers are looking for the students who choose these courses as their number 1 choice. So if your child is picking publications as their number 3 choice, they're not going to get an application. Okay. They may not even get one for number 2 because, as I said, the teachers are looking for the students that choose these courses as number 1. Okay. The second point I want to make is that the applications are not going out right now, and they probably won't go out until March at the earliest. And the reason is because we want to give students time to fill out their forms. I just looked at my results for 7th grade, and I have 400 as of this morning. I have 400 applications that have been turned in. That's not bad. Okay. I have over 500 students, but still, that's more than half. But I want to give those other 100+ students time to fill out their forms before I start emailing names to teachers. Okay. So I know that I've been getting a lot of questions. When are the applications? When am I going to get the application? Not really sure, to be honest. We don't have a definite date, but I can tell you it will be sometime in March. Okay. Now, the last point I want to make is that if your child does not complete the application, they will not be considered for that class. Okay. So if they get the application from Mr. Roberts, let's say, and they ignore it, or they don't fill it out, or they delete it, or whatever, they cannot complain about not being placed in that class. They must fill out that application. Okay. So I hope that clears up some of the questions about applications because I know there were a lot. Our performing arts courses are theater, art, band, choir, guitar, and orchestra. Okay. For the intermediate and advanced um, levels of those classes, now there is no intermediate theater, um, excuse me, but there is intermediate art, band, choir, guitar, and orchestra. Um, Students are generally required to audition. Okay. Um, Art, that's a whole other ball game. They don't necessarily have to audition, but Miss Tarwater would like to see their work. So that's kind of like an audition. Anyway, when do the auditions take place? During semester 2. So they could start at any moment. It's up to the teachers when they want to hold these auditions. And they'll let your students know when they're going to be holding auditions. That information will be shared in classes. Okay. And if your children or you have questions about requirements to get into that class, or when's the audition going to be, and he didn't have intermediate art, can he get into advanced art? We highly recommend getting in touch with the teachers, and I've got them listed there. So Miss Tarwater is our art teacher. Mr. Truitt teaches our band. Mr. Prather is our choir teacher. Mr. Chantal teaches guitar, and Mrs. Truitt teaches orchestra. So if you have questions about those courses, you can go ahead and reach out to those teachers. Okay, so that's performing arts. And I will say, while I'm on the subject, yes, it is possible for a student who had beginning art, but then as a seventh grader did not have intermediate art, it is possible for that student to be placed in intermediate art as an eighth grader, or maybe even advanced art, depending on their skills. But that decision is made by Ms. Tarwater. That's not made by me. Okay. Okay. Our our CTE and magnet programs at LEAD. Let's get into that. Okay. So there are 3 career and technical education, or CTE, programs offered here at LEAD. It's kind of our bread and butter. And they are robotics, automation, and manufacturing, computer science and cybersecurity, and architecture, construction, and technology. Okay. Now, your child has either chosen their program if they're one of my 7th graders, or will choose their program if they're one of Miss Cloud's 6th graders very soon. Okay. Now, it's very important to remember that a student is in that same program throughout 7th and 8th grade. There is no switching. So my 7th graders that are in robotics right now are not moving to architecture next year in 8th grade, or, vice versa. Okay. Once your child is placed in a program, they will stay in that program for 2 years. And that's necessary because they need those leveled courses in that CTE program. Okay. So please, 6th grade parents and guardians, let your students know that when they choose their CTE program, they're there to stay. They're not trying out computer science and then deciding, nah, I'm not really into computer science. I want to move to robotics. It doesn't work that way. Once they're in computer science, they stay in computer science. Okay. Now, when are 6th graders going to be choosing their CTE programs? Soon. How's it done? Through a Google form that Miss Cloud is going to share with her 6th grade deckhands. Okay. So to reiterate, this is for 6th grade parents and guardians. They're going to be choosing their magnet programs soon. Don't have an exact date. Okay. But keep an eye out for that. Okay. Magnet school decisions are coming. They're coming soon. So here's what the district says: on-time application lottery notifications in early March. That's a direct quote from the Magnet website, the CCSD Magnet website. So early March. Again, they haven't committed to a date. Okay, but early March, May, honestly. So yeah, that's the on-time application. Now there is a late application season, and that will start in late March. So if your child didn't, or you didn't get the application in before January, I don't remember. I think it was the 11th was the due date. Um, you can fill out an application in late March. Obviously, there are advantages and disadvantages to the late application season. If you want more information on late applications, you can go to magnet.ccsd.net. Now, here's how the process works. Okay, you will get an email from the school district, from the Magnet department. You will get an email stating that your child's status, quote, has changed. Okay, not your student. Not your student. Your student's not getting the Magnet decision email. You are, because you are the one with the account at magnet.ccsd.net. So once you get that email, and by the way, the email doesn't say yes, they were accepted, no, they were not, yes, they were placed in the alternate pool. It doesn't say that. It just says that your child's status has changed. Then you log into your account at magnet.ccsd.net and you will see the results. Okay. So there are three possible results. Either your child was selected, which means congratulations, they have a seat at the school. Your child is not qualified, which means they were not selected and they're not getting a seat at the school. Or your child was placed in the alternate pool, which means if a seat opens up, there is a chance that your child will get that seat. Now, I want to stress this is a pool. It is not a list. So you can't find out from the school, well, what number is my child in the alternate pool? There are no numbers. It's a pool. So they just draw students from that pool. I mean, we do the same thing here. So that's how alternate pool works. So if your child's status is alternate pool, they're not out of the running yet. Okay. Now, if your child is accepted, you will get an email from the school, and your student will get an email from the school. And at that very moment, you can accept that seat, which means you're going to that school. Okay. So that's how the Magnet school decisions work. And I mean, you should be somewhat familiar with this because it's the same process here at LEAD. Okay, STEM Tank is next. Our theme for the spring STEM Tank is pollution. Okay, you can ask your child what the actual statement is. I didn't have room to put it on this slide. It's rather lengthy, but it does have to do with pollution. Groups were scheduled to be formed on Valentine's Day, which was last week. I'm not sure that happened in every single advisory. I certainly hope so. You can ask your child if that was the case. Teacher Judgment Day is coming. Well, I mean, it's not soon, but it is May 7th. And if you recall, Teacher Judgment Day is really the group's first chance to kind of test out their presentation. So teachers are assigned to different classes and they watch the groups perform, do their presentations, and they score them. And then, the students get feedback directly from the teachers. I think you should, clean this up, speak more clearly, stop looking at your notes, or that was awesome. You did a great job. I really liked the way that you guys switched off, whatever the case may be. They get really important feedback from the teachers. So that's kind of like a dress rehearsal. All right. And that's on Wednesday, the 7th of May. And then Spring STEM Tank takes place on Tuesday, the 20th of May and Wednesday, the 21st of May. That's the last week of school. Okay. So the details regarding the times and when you can come in the afternoon and when you can come in the morning, that's forthcoming. Don't have that right now. So that's where we are at STEM Tank. Mrs. Murray has some important information for our 8th grade parents and guardians regarding zoned high schools. Tell your students to check their emails for important forms, flyers, and information from our zoned high schools. 3 examples of our zoned high schools: Shadow Ridge, Arborview, and Cheyenne. We send quite a few students to those 3 schools. Okay, so I want to make this clear. Mrs. Murray and we, the counselors here at LEAD, we are not responsible for registering students for high school, helping them choose their electives for high school. That's up to the high school. Our job is to disseminate information, and that's it. I know Mrs. Murray has already had several schools visit campus and speak to students, and that's where Miss Murray's participation ends. Okay, if you have questions about electives or classes or whatnot, we strongly suggest you contact those high schools. Now, it is highly recommended that all students complete the necessary information for their zoned high schools, even if they are applying to a magnet high school. Okay, so if your child is applying to Northeast Tech or Southwest CTA or Veterans Tribute, please have them fill out the forms for their zoned high school, whether it's Shadow Ridge or Bonanza or, um, you know, Arborview, whatever the case may be. Have them fill out those forms just in case. Okay. If your child winds up going to that magnet high school, then the zoned high school will just, disregard the information they got for your kiddo. No big deal. We also recommend that if you're planning to move for next year, if you're moving, and this goes for all three grade levels, 6th, 7th, and 8th. If you're planning to move out of the school zone, well, for us, we don't have a school zone at Lee. But if you're planning to move to a different area of town, or maybe even out of state, we do recommend that you complete the necessary forms for either your zoned high school or for LEAD, because you never know. Okay. So that's our information for zoned high schools. All right, we're almost done. Dates to remember. I only got 3 this month. This coming Saturday, the 22nd of February, is our Rebel Navigator STEM Day. So we partner up with UNLV, and there are UNLV representatives on campus, and there are all kinds of fun activities going on. There's bottle rocket competition, and all kinds of STEM-related activities. There will be LEAD staff here, and like I said, representatives from UNLV. It starts at 10, and 10 in the morning, and it ends at 2 in the afternoon. And there are flyers in your child's counselor's Canvas page if you need more information. Friday, so moving into March, the 14th of Friday is the end of third quarter. It is also the start of spring break. Spring break runs from Monday, the 17th of March, until Friday, the 21st of March. I mean, technically, we come back on the 21st of March, Monday, the 21st. I'm sorry, 24th of March. And that's spring break. Okay. So those are our dates to remember. We've not had good luck with our live Q&As this year. We're going to try again. So our next Q&A is going to be Tuesday, the 5th of March, starting at 9:30 in the morning. This presentation was sent to you via email. There is a link in that email. If you go back to that email, there is a link that will take you to a Google form that you can fill out to get an invitation to our Google Meet on Tuesday, the 5th of March, so that you can join us for a live Q&A, and you're welcome to ask us questions about anything in this presentation. I do need to state we cannot address individual issues regarding your students. Okay, that's a FERPA violation. But we can answer general questions. If anything was unclear through this presentation, be happy to clear that up for you. Okay. We are the Student Support Services Department, and it consists of Ms. Cloud, the 6th grade counselor, myself, the 7th grade counselor. Mrs. Murray is our awesome 8th grade counselor, and an invaluable member of our Student Support Services Department is Dr. Hernandez, our school social worker. These are our email addresses. That's the best way to get a hold of us. We love working with your kids. So thank you so much for your attention and for your support. I hope you have an awesome spring break with your kiddos, and we'll talk to you again in March. Take care.